It's crazy what's happening in the UK. There's still riots going on and they're not stopping. Let's actually have a look at what's going on there right now.
The UK is experiencing its worst unrest in over a decade, as far-right anti-immigrant violence has spread across the country. The violence was sparked by a shocking incident earlier in the week in Southport, northwest England, where several children were stabbed, leaving 3 young girls dead and the nation in shock.
And it wasn't even a Muslim.
The far-right quickly capitalized on the tragedy, spreading disinformation.
This is actually so sad because, like, I feel sorry for what happened to the girls, but it's like a tragedy that it's being turned by liars into an even bigger tragedy, right? So the person that did this was not a Muslim. He was actually a British citizen. He was born in the UK and he was a Christian. So it has nothing to do with the Muslims. But the Muslims are being attacked, masjids are being damaged, people are being physically attacked on the street. Even police officers got injured and stuff. This is insane, guys. Like, that's not normal behavior. It's like not how human beings should behave and act. Like what's happening here? This is insane. And the people that actually are using now some propaganda are actually spreading lies, right? They're saying, oh, this was done by migrants and by Muslims and stuff. Even though they already know who was behind it and the person got arrested, they are still spreading lies to this day. And there's still misinformation, even though the person responsible for this was caught. Now, even the official media is saying, oh, it was not a Muslim, but they're still using it even days later to actually attack Muslims and masjid.
On the tragedy, spreading disinformation, including false claims that the suspect was an immigrant, to incite anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant protests. However, police have confirmed that the suspect isn't Muslim and was born in Britain. ITV News reported that a man who was convicted in 2018 for being a member of a banned neo-Nazi organization was among those present at last week's protests in Southport, which ignited the wave of far-right actions across the country. Over the weekend, crowds of far-right agitators set fire to hotels housing asylum seekers in 2 cities,
That's brutal.
leaving residents trapped and terrified. In other cities, rioters damaged public buildings and clashed with police.
Yeah, may Allah protect all the brothers and sisters and innocent people in the UK from harm of those crazy people. I mean, like, the only way I can describe them is like crazy people, because nobody who can think normal with their brain, right, would do such actions, right? Like damage buildings of someone that has nothing to do with it, even go after the police. Like, are those police officers, okay, maybe some are Muslim, right? But some are not Muslim, right? And they want to go against Muslims and they attack everyone, right? I think even among themselves, they're like punching each other and stuff. Like, I saw a clip of someone actually igniting some trash, right? And it started burning. And then they threw it at a person that has nothing to do with it. Even like, people have lost their mind. They've become wilder than animals on the road. Like, seriously, they're more wild than a wild animal that you find somewhere in the forest. Like, this is craziness at its fullest. Like,
hurling objects at officers and smashing their vehicles.
Yes, what do they have to do with that?
Most entrances have been secured, with men in high-visibility jackets taking shifts to patrol, and a few worshippers even staying overnight as a precaution. Mosque officials explain that these measures are necessary during the worst riots the UK has seen in years.
Yeah.
The heightened security comes as some Muslims and ethnic minorities in the UK express feeling unsafe amidst widespread violent and racist protests targeting mosques, immigration centers, and hotels, even affecting this traditionally left-leaning city in northern England. Mosque officials and other Muslims in Liverpool expressed their shock after violent mobs targeted 2 mosques further north in England.
Look at this car!
Additionally, hundreds...
Ooh, let's go back there. They actually put a whole car on fire, guys. Look at this. This is going to be very expensive. Like, you know what's like so sad about this? So there's retaliation by a whole population done against innocent people, right? Instead of the victim, for example, right? Like not the victim, but like the one that actually did this, right? Like the one that is now the crime committer, right? This is sad. Like, I'm in shock to see that they even turn a car upside down and put this on fire, or put it on fire right now. Like, it doesn't help the victims. If they want justice for the victims, they're bringing bigger harm by doing this. They're actually harming the victims more, and this is the families, the ones that are left behind, and the survivors of this attack, right? So this is bad for the victims. It's not gonna make them feel any better. It makes them feel more horrible, because like, imagine this, right? You're like a father of a daughter and something bad happens, and then you see people do bad stuff to other people, and you see more tragedy. This will not make you feel any better about your loss. Like, are people trying to like uplift the family by causing damage to like random people on the street? Like, how is that helping the victims? This is something that, like, if you have like a functioning brain and you think about it, how does this help the victims? You should do anti-crime and anti-violence marches and not violence marches, right? Like, if you're protesting, you need to do some peace protest or something and not do it the other way around. And if you already know that it was not the Muslims behind this, why are you still angry at Muslims? What did we Muslims do to you? Have we hurt anyone? Or was this a Christian boy that is a British citizen? The media even showed a picture of who it was and identified that person. And we clearly know now that the one behind it is not a Muslim and that he's a British citizen. So what does this have to do with migrants or with Muslims? And why are you attacking people that are not even of any of that mentioned here, right? What does an atheist British citizens that maybe owns a car has to do with either group? This is also confusing, right? Like, this is craziness. This is pure madness that is happening with the people there. This is not normal, guys. This is like Shaitan getting into bodies of people and making them act worse than animals.
Further north in England. Additionally, hundreds of anti-immigration protesters and counter-protesters clashed in central Liverpool, leading to looted shops and injured police officers. The Abdullah Quilliam Mosque, which claims to be Britain's first mosque, has temporarily closed due to the violence. This unrest was fueled by a false narrative spread online, alleging that the perpetrator of last week's tragic killing of 3 girls in nearby Southport was an Islamist migrant. Tell MAMA, an organization that monitors anti-Muslim incidents, has reported receiving over 500 calls and online reports of anti-Muslim behavior across the UK in the past week, marking a 5-fold increase from the previous week. The group's director, Iman Atta, told Reuters that Muslim communities are feeling terrorized.
Of course!
The group also noted that anti-Muslim hate has been on the rise in the UK even before the recent riots, particularly following the onset of the Gaza conflict last year. Several rioters involved in violent incidents across the UK have been given lengthy prison sentences, according to Britain's PA Media news agency. One man received a 3-year prison sentence after admitting to violent disorder and assaulting an emergency worker in Southport last Tuesday. Another individual...
I totally agree here. There should be heavy punishments for such behavior, so everyone is discouraged from doing some hate crime against a group of people, right? Like, if you tolerate this too much, people are more likely to do this. Like, there are other ways to express your opinion that does not involve hurting others, right? Like, okay, let's say there's a person, right, that says, hey, I'm on the correct path, right? And there's another person that says, I'm on the correct path. And now you have two different opinions. Like, it's totally fine to have a debate and to actually protect your viewpoint, right? If you're saying that adultery is your lifestyle and you love adultery, and someone says adultery is not good, this is forbidden by God, then the person that is for it and the person that is against it can sit in a room and they can show their point, right? Like, for example, the Muslim can say, look, adultery leads to transmitted diseases, it leads to single parents, it leads to social problems, it leads to unhappy marriages and jealousies in them and this and that. Like, you can actually maybe quote from like studies being done by universities or psychologists. You can point out statistics, right? And then the person that is pro adultery, he can show his point why adultery is so great, but he will not maybe find much because it's obvious that it is bad, right? But what I'm saying is people can prove their points, and they can find strong points to prove their points, right? Like they can use statistics, like research done by facilities, by universities, this and that. And people can have like a debate on who is correct, and the one person can bring more evidences. And we are all scientific people in 2024, right? We are very modern. So we're gonna accept the evidence based on scientific research, based on actual numbers and statistics. But you know what? There are a lot of people that are following their emotions and feelings, and they are very confused individuals. Like in this century, in this year, there are like a lot of people that are not happy with themselves anymore. You see this a lot. You have like teenagers come home and they're questioning even their gender. Like, are they male or female? Because they don't feel happy in their own body, right? They're an emotional mess. Some are swallowing anti-depression pills and stuff. Like, a lot of people are having mental disorders these days. There's like a lot of problems happening with with themselves, right? They're not happy with who they are. They're having an identity crisis. And in order to actually feel better, some of those individuals, and I'm actually not surprised if a lot on those riots are actually like those people I described that have like gender identity crisis, that have like maybe not gender but themselves identity crisis, what their meaning and their purpose in life is. They're like a lot of confused individuals that don't have a purpose in life, that are walking on this road. You have like people that are unemployed for a very, very long time, and they don't even have the courage or the motivation to look for a job. We have this crisis also here in Germany recently, right, where a lot of people are home for years without a job. They're not even looking for one, and they're having depression. Some people even end up hurting themselves and stuff, because we are living in a day and age where people are not loving themselves anymore. They're not happy with themselves, and they tend to look for like a scapegoat, right? Like someone they can put the blame on, right? And it's usually like migrants, Muslims, people of different skin color, and this and that. And it's just so disgusting to see that people who feel lost and confused about their own life, and they don't see a purpose or meaning in their life, how they go to such length where they will actually use violence as a means to ease their own pain. That means like they hurt others to feel better about themselves. That's disgusting. It's not going to make them feel better. Even if it's temporarily going to make them feel better, they're going to wake up the next day and they're still going to feel miserable. Like the only way to find happiness is to find your purpose and meaning in life. And the purpose and meaning in life, and this is what Islam is teaching, what the Quran says, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the jinns and the humans just for one purpose, and that is to worship him. So if we are not in connection with our creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're not going to have a purpose or meaning in life. We're going to wake up every day, go to work, and we're going to ask ourselves why we even living, why we working, what's the meaning of life, right? Like people not gonna find answers in even their job about like why they are alive, right? The answer is the Quran, the answer is Islam. But if people don't discover it and they're in such state, they sometimes go crazy like we see here, right?
Last Tuesday, another individual was sentenced to 30 months in prison after pleading guilty to violent disorder in Liverpool last Saturday and sending a malicious communication last year.
Wow.
These cases were initially scheduled for hearings later this month at Liverpool Crown Court but were expedited. May Allah protect our Muslim brothers and sisters in the UK.
I mean, they need a lot of dua right now. Let's make much dua for them. I mean, that's just an ad, right? Okay, yeah, it's over. Yo, this is so sad what's going on. It's like the 5th or 6th day already, right? Or is it like 7 days even? Wait, when did this start? It was like 6 days ago, right? I believe the crime happened like 5 or 6 days ago. It's still going on. It's insane, guys. It's saddening. It's completely lunatic, crazy. Like, may Allah protect the Muslims in the UK, and may Allah open the eyes to those doing those riots that this leads to nothing but more pain and suffering. This doesn't solve the crisis, but yeah. If you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time, inshallah.